It was to the head of the valley that his eyes were led irresistibly. For there, soaring into the gap, was an almost perfect cone of snow, so radiant that he wondered for a moment if it were real at all. In Lost Horizon, novelist James Hilton evoked a land of mystical powers. He called it Shangri-la, a spiritual retreat hidden deep within the Himalayas. But Shangri-la is not the stuff of fiction. Here it lingers, amid the fabled kingdom of Nepal. Kathmandu is a bustling crossroad for peoples from across the east. Among them, the Sherpas, proud guardians of the Himalayas. Pasang Temba is a long way from home. A mountain guide, Pasang often visits Kathmandu's markets to gear up for expeditions. Today, he's come to do battle with demons. Pasang has been having bad dreams. His soul, he believes, is plagued by stirrings of the underworld. To the temple of Swayambanath, he's come seeking peace. Within each wheel are prayers. With each turn, they are invoked. But prayers alone aren't enough. Before he returns home, he seeks the counsel of a lama. For Tibetan Buddhists, nightmares are more than shadows of the subconscious. They are the visitations of demons. To this ancient people, the mysterious workings of the spirit world are all too real. The Lama, or Rinpoche, is an oracle of the gods. The way is decided. Acts of merit and exorcism. These are the means of healing. The Rinpoche advises Pasang to make a pilgrimage to Mani Rimdu, a distant festival of communal absolution. At journey's end, he is instructed to unfurl a string of sacred banners to scatter his pleas to the winds. High in the mountains, amid the Mani Rimdu festival, his prayer flags will be that much closer to the gods. Crowning all Asia, Nepal is the gateway to the Himalayas. Awaiting Pasang is a 3-day journey on foot to a distant monastery in the shadow of Mount Everest. Lost Horizon was inspired by a Tibetan legend of hidden valleys where life knows no hardship, only nirvana. One such realm was said to be the land spreading wide beneath Everest. Pasang has returned to the mountains he knows, bearing a gift: Chinese tea for his brother, a monk at his destination, the monastery of Tangboche. He won't be alone on this trip. A caravan of old friends is joining him en route to a weekly market in the mountains. Blazing their way will be a pack animal without compare. The zo is a cross between the yak and the Tibetan bull. To the Sherpa, these are not common beasts, but comrades. The lead zo carries nothing. He is sacred. But he also has a more practical purpose. Unburdened, he can speed the others along. Tangboche is only some 15 miles away, but the winding trail through the mountains will more than double the distance. From here, at 10,000 feet, the journey will carry the caravan almost a mile up, over high passes, down deep valleys, scaling and descending the same heights many times over. It is believed there are spirits haunting these trails. And to the Sherpa, the demons are as real as the dangers. They stalk Pasang's every step. Life here perpetually hangs in the balance between the forces of nature. Yet, while a river crossing may be perilous, it offers the man a chance to stay the spirits pursuing them. The last man across marks the bridge's threshold to prevent devils from following. In these highlands, superstition and religion are merged. If a demon is determined, no measure can stop it. A zo is spooked. There are long miles invested in every bag of grain, so each counts dearly. There's more than lost income at stake. It is a bad omen. This is a world on edge. Beautiful as the mountains are, they are tireless in the demands they make of their people. A roast flavored with juniper embers. A day of hard trail is rewarded in the company of friends. Tomorrow night, his companions will part. But for now, Pasang's worries are far away. Still, he endures another night of bad dreams. The fire is left to go out on its own, so Pasang's demons will think the group has lingered and they'll be tricked into remaining behind. But it's no use. He's misplaced his brother's tea, an ominous token of the spirits once again. Today comes the most difficult stretch of the journey. A sheer climb, a half-mile up. The caravan is greeted with a sight that's hard-won. Namche Bazaar is the unofficial capital of the Sherpas. "4 days trek in, 3 days trek back. For generations, the work week has revolved around the market. Medicine from India, carpets from Tibet, cloth from China are all borne to Namche. Here, caravans from the south carrying grain meet merchants from the north carrying salt. Pasang suspects he left his brother's tea when he first set off. A friend is on his way back down the trail. If he finds it, he'll pass it along to the next runner headed for the mountains. The day's trade has been good. The market has left spirits high and pockets full. At a local inn, the barley beer, or chang, is flowing. The gods have blessed the traders with good fortune. The news is good for Pasang as well. To give thanks, his friends have decided to continue on and join him on his pilgrimage to the Mani Rimdu festival. "14,000 feet, the last high pass. Zos aren't suited for this elevation, so they've been traded for the mascot of the Himalayas. The yak is bred for hard work at high altitudes. These mountains test the endurance of all life. Pasang has himself lost many loved ones to the snow peaks. Beneath a holy chorten, thanks for safe passage are paid to the gods. Pasang knows he owes his life to them. But if luck in these mountains is fickle, it isn't always bad. 2 bricks of tea are returned, thanks to a stranger. The rising winds are beckoning. After 3 days, Pasang's goal nears at last. Tomorrow, these trails will swell with journeymen and pilgrims from miles around. All come for the Mani Rimdu festival. Here, to the proverbial Shangri-la that is Tangboche. Legend holds that the monastery was founded when a renowned lama flew over these mountains. At this site, his foot touched earth. Now another step has alighted here, with a gift of tea. Pasang has waited 2 long years since last he saw his brother. Who better to turn to for deliverance than one whose life is devoted to prayer and meditation? Mani Rimdu is about to begin. The festival celebrates the oldest traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. Scene after scene of an elaborate mystery play unfold, each recounting Buddhism's valiant conquest over evil. At first, the dancers entice the demons, only to entrap them and destroy them. Three days of non-stop celebration assure all of this land that it will be purged of evil. For the devout from far and wide, Mani Rimdu offers the fleeting promise of salvation. For one celebrant, the bidding of his lama remains to be done. Pasang still must fly his prayer flags. Though he has been ushered to the spiritual threshold by friends, he must walk the last mile alone. All things are impermanent, so said the Buddha. Our lives and our fears no less. On the breezes of Everest, Pasang's prayers are answered. It was the last living continent on Earth the white man settled, with good reason. To venture into the Australian outback takes either madness or courage. To settle here takes both. 2 million square miles, 2/3 of the continent, is endless desert. The red center is a land beset by the elements, by temperatures that can hit 115 degrees, by conditions that defy endurance. This was the purgatory that only a few short decades ago greeted the Outback's first pioneers, a singular breed of adventurer. All Australia is indebted to them. It's a debt Ian Conway is now determined to repay. Ian's ranch, established 14 years ago, is a booming success. Ian's grandfather was one of the Outback's early pioneers. Years ago, he too settled a ranch, somewhere amid the wide desert. Now, with his daughter Megan, Ian wants to retrace his grandfather's footsteps across the great interior. The first explorers came here by foot, by horse, and camel. Compared to them, Ian and Megan will be traveling in style, thanks to Shorty. Now, into the heart of the red center go 2 generations of Conways in search of a third. Ian and Megan's journey will take them deep into the heart of the Outback. From their station at Kings Creek to the threshold of Australia's crown jewel, Ayers Rock. This is Ian's way of passing the family torch to his daughter.
She's 18 years old. She's been in the bush with me most of her life, because we're very good friends. She's my right arm, that's what it amounts to.
Dad's a pretty strong man. He's also a tough boss. He tells you when you're doing wrong, that sort of thing. Comes across as a hard old diamond, but he's pretty soft on the inside.
The Conways have the Outback in their blood, and Ian's grandfather to thank for that. Like other pioneers, Bill Little came here seeking adventure.
He was very tough. He was renowned to be tough. Wherever he went, he was always the boss.
In 1903, Bill Little was part of the great rush of white settlers who first ventured deep into Australia in search of their fortunes. Explorers were followed by outcasts, gold miners by bushrangers, ranchers by homesteaders. One and all, they came for the land, and that they found plenty of, though it was not the paradise some had in mind. Those who survived had to be the measure of this rugged wilderness. Yet for Bill Little, this desolate wasteland was home.
I'm in search of something that might say that he was here, you know? Like maybe he dropped something that I might pick up and say, well, it was Grandpa's. And perhaps to try and imagine what he would have known about this country, and he probably climbed all these hills, you know, on foot and on horses and so on. Yet I've come in a helicopter and I've come in by motor car, and all I've seen is this here, what remained. Yet he lived here, you know, so he would have known every square inch of the place.
Kings Canyon is a miniature Grand Canyon, a geological beacon amid the trackless expanse. Here, when he was 27, Little found something more precious than gold: a natural spring. This is as close as the Outback gets to Eden.
Well, Megs, this is where my old grandfather, your old great-grandfather used to live back almost at the turn of the century. He lived in this cave for almost 2 years.
There was a time we can only imagine when Bill Little lived in this forgotten grotto.
I think everybody needs to trace their history somewhere and see where they came from. And with me, this is it. I mean, it's still here, you know, whereas most people can only trace their history on paper. Mine's physically here.
In Kings Canyon, Bill Little broke his leg and set it himself. He raised cattle, stood his ground against raiding intruders, struggled, and somehow endured. After 2 years, Little moved on. He had built a small herd of cattle. Now, all he needed was a station to tend them and a way to still his restless soul. It's going to take more than just Shorty to cover these endless miles. Ian's search for his grandfather's homestead is becoming a quest. Out here, somewhere, Little managed to settle a station.
Well, I knew that well had existed many years ago, and I'd probably been there as a child, but I don't remember it.
Roaming these sands are no less than 10,000 wild camels. This herd may well be descendants of those Little himself let loose onto the land. Centuries before there were camels and camelmen here, the Outback was home to a people as ancient as any on Earth. Rising out of the red sands, crowning every horizon, is the spiritual lodestone of the Aborigines. For perhaps 2,000 generations, what is now known as Ayers Rock was called Uluru. The Aborigines knew the Outback as no white man ever would. In his search for Little Station, Ian has hit a dead end. But not for long. Who better to turn to than the keepers of the Red Center's secrets? To find out where his grandfather's well is, Ian has come to the Aborigines and back to his own roots.
I was born to a part Aboriginal mother and a part Aboriginal father. And my grandmother, my mother's mother, was an Aboriginal woman. I must have been 16 or 17 years old before I realised how I really, truly fitted into the family, because I'm so light-skinned, whereas most of my family are all very dark-skinned.
It's said that at creation, the Earth Mother sang herself into being. Through song, to this day, the Aborigines invoke their spiritual history and give voice to the land they know so well. Peter Beulah remembers Ian's grandfather from the time long past when he worked as a hand at Little Station. That was many years ago, but his memory of the way to get there is still sharp. Now, off-road, Ian's hunt for the past has gained new momentum. It's no wonder he was hard-pressed to find Little's well. Peter Beulah has directed him miles off the beaten track, through wilderness no one has crossed for decades. Shorty has its work cut out for it. Most families have portraits and mementos to keep memories alive. For the Conways, bygone remains are their heirloom.
Falling down now.
Yeah.
At last, they've found Little Station.
Just about feel old Grandpa's presence here. See this old bucket? Old bucket.
In 1929, when Little was Ian's age, he mounted a windmill of casuarina trees, dug a well, and named his proud homestead Angus Down. Now, Little Station is surrendered to time.
It used to be honoured a few years ago. Is that actually
Its traces bear witness to his stubborn struggle to pave the way here for his grandson.
Pretty amazing. Something that's left behind that I can show my kids, and perhaps they can relate to it to some extent, even though they didn't know our gran or grandpa. They can still relate to it because the physical thing that he built is still here.
Camel man, wrangler, family man, adventurer. Bill Little took on the Outback and won. Now, time is proving an even tougher opponent. Still, he left more than memories and relics behind. In his children's children, Bill Little lives on. Deep in the jungles of Malaysia, restless spirits roam the night. They are the souls of those who sleep, searching for dreams. They are the dead, being hastened to the sacred longhouse of their forebears. They are the vanquished on a quest for revenge. They are the spirits of a warrior people called the Iban. The word means wanderer, for theirs is a journey that lasts the whole of their lives. When an Iban youth comes of age, he takes part in a remarkable rite of passage known as Bejalai. 2 years ago, Bharat left his family to work in the city and prove himself. Today, he's coming home. In this singular way, the Iban have long straddled two worlds by sampling the modern while savoring the ancient. When he left for his Bejalai, Bharat was a boy. Now, he's coming home a man. To the far reaches of the rainforest, Bharat will go. The remote longhouse of his ancestors awaits him. Malaysia is a country divided by sea and skirted by island and peninsular nations. Its eastern province of Sarawak is home to the Iban. Journey's End is a short boat ride and a lifetime away. Bharat's older brother is a welcome sight. That Bharat will again be accepted by his family, there is no question. That's the beauty of Bejalai. The reunion has already begun. One judge of Bharat's success will be the gifts he comes home with. He's not counting on his worldliness alone to impress people. Nor is he about to let his generosity be called into question. With this launch, Bharat marks his passage. He is venturing out of one age and into another. The river is his gateway. Bejalai tests the mettle of the Longhouse youth, but also their patience. While he was away, Bharat was cut off from word of his loved ones. Whatever news awaits him upriver, the forest is reassuring. Here, nothing changes. Time has seen to that. These jungles are 130 million years old, the most ancient on Earth. Until a few short centuries ago, they were largely uncharted. And yet, for nearly 6,000 years, the rivers have been the lifelines of the Iban. Over the centuries, they've witnessed a proud history. Bharat's ancestors were once the scourge of the East. In the 19th century, they were pirates and headhunters. The noble schooners of the British fleet that plied these waters lived in mortal fear of the Iban, known as the notorious Sea Dyaks. Nowadays, the river extracts a different toll. The price of progress, a faulty electric system. Bharat's gift has arrived not a moment too soon. Still, to the Iban, even things mechanical are ruled by the mystical. The birds bear omens. If a bird moves in the same direction as an Iban, prospects are good. If it flies the other way, a man takes warning. For Bharat, the spirits have opened the way. This is the secret to the Iban's success, to keep pace with the present, even as they keep faith with the past. If leaving home is a time-honored tradition here, so is returning. 2 years away is a long time in any culture. Bharat's beloved cousins have grown. His younger brother come closer to being a man. His parents aged. In the flurry of a greeting, Bharat has reclaimed his place. But his rank among the men of the community remains to be seen. Over the next few days, one and all will measure the success of his Bejalai. His homecoming is all the more auspicious for its timing. An upcoming festival, a Gawai Batu, will soon welcome the planting season. Bejalai has ensured the resilience of this people. With the return of their young come outside influences and modern goods that enrich the community and keep it in step with the times. In the depths of the jungle, they have defied their isolation to flourish. Life here is defined by the longhouse. The outside open porch is the workspace. The pepper harvest is underway. The veranda within is the center of the community. Here, old and young congregate, and families converge to celebrate the ties that bind. No one need ever be alone amid the Iban. But families do enjoy their own measure of privacy. Each has an individual living area. Here is gathered the wealth of the longhouse, the bounty collected through countless Bejalais, down through generations. Like the young man himself, each object is said to have a soul of its own that has to be ritualistically welcomed. But it's for the most gruesome prizes of their bejelais that the Iban were feared as warriors. To rob the vitality of their enemies, they took heads. Rice is still smeared across the jaws of skulls to feed them. Each is considered a guest. Today, heads are no longer the hunter's pursuit. Still, the lessons of jungle warfare aren't wasted, stalking game. Bharat and his brother are tracking a wild pig, though it's considered unlucky to utter the name of the animal you're after. To the skillful, the forest provides. It's been 2 years since Bharat handled a shotgun, but his aim is still true. He is earning his place among the men. With the contribution of a pig, Bharat has brought distinction to his family, even as the Longhouse now readies to distinguish him. Preparations for the Gawai Batu feast have reached a heady pace. Bharat will be a guest of honor. It hardly seems long ago that Bharat's elders celebrated their homecomings. His grandfather is still alive. His peers fought the Japanese in the Second World War. They earned the emblem of a warrior, the tattoos that proclaim their ferocity in battle. It's said that some yet live who bear on their hands the mark of a headhunter. To ensure a bountiful season, the machetes that will soon clear the fields must first be blessed. Each family has gathered their knives in anticipation. The Gawai Batu festival is begun. Rice is said to have a soul and to be endowed with the influence to bestow blessings. Bharat holds a special place amid the festivities. His spirit is being welcomed back after its journey. The feast that pays tribute to him is blessed with a feather's touch. All are invited to join in the tidings. The promise of health, of children, and a bountiful harvest are Bharat's. In music as ancient as memory, the Gawai invokes the benevolence of the gods upon the traveler. The night culminates in movement. Najat, the ancient Iban style, is at heart a celebration of battle. The deadly grace required of jungle warfare is played out in fluid motion. platform steps recalling the greeting that awaited Iban warriors returned from headhunting. It is no less fitting a tribute to a son's return home today. Even Bharat's grandfather, said to be 100 years old, moves with uncanny poise. This, after all, is the ultimate test of a man who's come home from Bejalai. He must be a good warrior and hunter, a good journeyman and farmer, but above all, he must dance. Bharat is, without compare, the finest performer in the Longhouse. Yet, like all things Iban, his movements aren't meant to celebrate the self, but his people. For Bharat, the time of wandering is over. Now, his soul can at last take its place among those of his ancestors. Perhaps the time will someday come when their stirrings can find peace as well. Legend has it that once China's South Sea rose and threatened to swallow the land. A god took pity and turned the hills into goats to herd them south. There, a strange wind turned them back into hills. And so they remained, huddled together to stave off the flood and guard the River Lee. Today, it is painters who flock here, as they have for centuries, to the mystical realm that is Guilin. For no less than 8,000 years, the Chinese have been producing great art. 1,000 years ago, a new art form made all that preceded it merely prelude. Landscape painting is the essence of Chinese art. And Guilin is the essential Chinese landscape. Now, in the spirit of the Grand Masters, comes one whose brush moves with their vision. Jiankun Qing is the luckiest of artists, for he lives in Guilin, amid a masterpiece of nature. Every year, by bicycle and boat, Qing embarks on a pilgrimage of sorts. To the mountains he goes, to see, to absorb, to prepare for his next painting.
I'll always get inspiration from this landscape. There's a famous artist who came to Guilin, and he described it. Vast and beautiful, special and lovely. Every hill is worth painting and seeing. When an artist comes here, he can only fall in love with the place.
China is a nation that has, through the ages, prided itself on its natural beauty. But the realm of Guilin is widely regarded as the country's most sublime. Nature sculpted the banks of the River Lee some 300 million years ago. And in fact, there's truth behind the legends about the floods that threatened Guilin. The region was indeed swallowed beneath the sea, When the waters receded, the buckled limestone that remained was left exposed to eons of erosion. To this day, every spring, it's said that the rising mists join heaven and earth. A great master once advised, "Set forth your heart, and your brush will be inspired." For Ching, now is not the time to paint, but to absorb and sketch. Every stop along his way is the stuff of inspiration. A painting, after all, is more than just scenery. It is instilled with the life that thrives in its midst. This is the year of the rat, an auspicious one for commerce and for the merchants of Fuli. The town earned its name, which means prosperity and wealth. A food stall that specializes in a local delicacy, one that the connoisseur may prepare to taste. Herbs and spices are basted in sizzling oil. A broth is added, along with a savory mix of condiments. The result? Oil tea. The people of Guilin are heirs to a culture as old as time, traditions that are the artists to sample. None more revered than Chinese opera. Ching has friends among the Gui Opera Company, and today he is honored with the offer to play along on the erhu. In ancient times, it was thought that music endowed the world with order. A new emperor's first act was to tune an instrument to pitch, to ensure a harmonious reign. A 1,000 years ago, the Chinese opera gave voice to the Sung dynasty. Long past is that golden age. Once, the opera was a veritable potboiler of passions and human drama. Even the makeup was imbued with meaning. Yellow was brutality, black integrity, purple was wisdom, and red courage. Almost 1,000 years ago, Su Tung Po said, "Before you can paint bamboo, it must first grow in your innermost heart." For Ching, the seeds of inspiration are being sown. The farmlands of Guilin are no less beautiful than its riverbanks. Arable land is a precious commodity in China, and the soil is tirelessly worked. Rice, millet, corn, and rapeseed are the rewards. The tools of modern agriculture have yet to visit these fields. The paintbrush, too, has long resisted the influence of the West. For centuries, classical painters of Europe were baffled by the interpretive style of the Chinese. But in the East, artists felt that a painting that mirrors reality can't compare with one that reflects the spirit. The celebrated master Kuo Si once said, "There are landscape paintings that you can contemplate. There are others you can stroll through. And then there are those in which you'd like to stay forever. And these, by far, are the best." The Li has summoned Qing back to its waters. To reap the river's harvest, fishermen gather, as they have for generations. They carry no bait, no rod or reel. Their boats of bamboo aren't rigged with any trawls. Their gear of choice is nature's own. Cormorants will catch their fish.
For a long time, the fishermen of the Li have made their living from these birds. The cormorants, they're marvelous creatures.
As night descends, the fishermen use lanterns as their lure. The fish are drawn by the light. This is an unlikely alliance between man and bird, a technique as ingenious as it is ancient. The birds are masters of their element. Each is fitted with a slender collar to make sure it doesn't swallow its catch and lose interest in the hunt. A few choice morsels of fish now and then is its incentive, and the fisherman's, on a good day, is an ample catch.
The cormorants can actually outswim the fish. And these birds, they are not all that big, but they can take on a fish that's heavier than they are. It is so beautiful.
Said one master, "It is from the very soul of the painter that the mountains spring forth." To his studio, Qing has returned at last with a painting etched in his mind.
Every time I go back to the countryside, I see something different. The mountains of Guilin are so foggy, so misty. You see them, but they are not there. You think how tiny life is, and at the same time, how great it is. It is a magic land, a fairyland, a wonderland. Sometimes I think I'm not a person, but an angel myself. I remember a poem that describes how I feel. I would rather be a citizen in Guilin than an angel in heaven.
Legend holds that the renowned artist Wu Tao-tzu ventured into a landscape he had painted and vanished within its mist. For Ching, with a stroke of his brush, journey's end has come.